Hello. So, a very warm good morning to each and every one of you. Hope all of you are doing well. You are having a very good time over there with your family and these days. And I really hope that each and every one of you and family and everyone around you is really safe during this pandemic and cyclone issues around us. Keep safe, be safe. You just keep away yourself from everything, every skies and all. And also, I hope that you will be using this time, this long vacation of 1 year, really usefully and productive. Reading good things, reading new things, experiencing new things, experiencing new talents and everything. Just sharpen. They use this time to sharpen yourself, sharpen your qualities, your talents, and your interest in everything. So we can get into our class, and in the last class, we were discussing about Merchant of Venice, the iconic play written by William Shakespeare. We just went through the overview of the total plot summary and your particular the portion you are having in this particular time is but in ninth standard is actually act 1 from act 1 scene 2. So without any, I know you are very much familiar. We in the last class we went through the characters, the plot overview and everything. So without taking time, I am directly entering into the textbook, page number 30, act 1 scene 2. So, everyone, please open your textbook. Take page number 32. 30, sorry, page number 30, Act 1, Scene 2. So, can we go? Act 1, Scene 2. This scene opens in Belmont, where Portia, the rich and beautiful heiress, resides. She shares with her maid Nerissa her doubts concerning her future due to the strange provisions of her father's will. According to the will, she is to be won by the suitor who chooses correctly from among the three caskets made of gold, silver, and lead. Portia ridicules the suitors who have come earlier to try their luck, showing their disapproval when Nerissa reminds her of Bassanio. She remembers him as tender thoughts for him. The scene is in prose and deals in the indirect explanation and characterization. So that's the short summary about the play. We no need to explain that more. We can explain that. We can go through that summary after the detailed reading. So I'm reading. Please look into the textbook. Scene 2, Belmont. So what is Belmont? Belmont is actually the place where Portia is residing. It's the native place of Portia. It's a native place of Portia. Belmont, a room in Portia's house. The scene of the play is Portia's house. The backdrop is Portia's house. Enter Portia and Nerissa, and in the scene now in the stage there is Portia and Nerissa. Portia, by my thought, Nerissa, my little body is weary of this great world. Nerissa, you would be sweet, madam, if your miseries were in the same abundance as your good fortunes are, and yet, for aught I see, they are sick that surfeit with too much as they that starve with nothing. It is no mean happiness, therefore, to be seated in the mean. Superfluity comes sooner by white hairs, but competency lives longer. So that's a conversation between Nerissa and Portia. Who is Nerissa? Who is Portia actually? Portia is the Bassanio actually loves Portia, and Portia is the rich rich heiress of Belmont, and Nerissa is the maid of Portia. So Portia is saying, by my thought, Nerissa, my little body is aware of this great word. By my thought means by my faith. By my faith. It's my destiny to live in this world. My little body is a very means tired, weak. My little body is really weak to live in this great world, in this world around me. I really hate this world. She's unhappy, and she's saying that my little body is not due to my destiny. I am not happy. My destiny is not to live in happy. I'm really sad. I'm really weak. I'm unwary in this great world. And let's see what is Narisa saying. Narisa is saying, you would be sweet, madam, if your miseries were in the same abundance as your good fortunes are. She is saying like you would be tired, madam, if you had bad luck rather than wealth and good luck. But as far as I can tell, people with too much suffers as much as people with nothing. The best way to be happy is to be in between. When you have too much, you get old sooner, but having just enough helps you live longer. So Narisa is actually saying a very great philosophy to Portia. What is that? You would be sweet, madam, if your miseries were the same abundance as your good fortunes are. So what is she saying, Portia? Madam, my dear madam, you are actually having little miseries when it is compared to your wealth. When it is compared to your wealth, you don't have as much miseries as you have the wealth and happiness. Let's see the new words. In the abundance means plentiful, lot of. Abundance is plentiful. Ought anything. Surfeit, overfed. And then with nothing, with having nothing, no mean not small poor. So what is she saying? She is saying like you would be tired, madam, if you had luck rather than wealth and good luck. But as far as I can tell, she is saying as far as I can tell, for what I see, there are sick as her feet. Surfeit is overfed with too much as they were starved with nothing. She is saying like people with too much suffer as much as the people with nothing. People with too much will really suffer as people with who is having nothing in their hand. The best way to be happy is to be between having too much and between having nothing. She is saying that the best thing, the best place that we can be comfortable in happiness is in between extreme happiness and extreme sadness. She is saying that if you are having extreme happiness and extreme sadness, you will be really old and you will be really sad. If you are having a position in between extremities, you will be really happy in your life. When you have too much, you get old sooner, but having just enough helps to live longer. She is saying that when you are having everything, you like, the money, the power, everything around you, what will happen? You will really get old because all your dreams are accomplished, all your dreams are fulfilled, and there is nothing for you to do in this particular life. And so what will happen? You will get weary and you will get old fast. So having a bit of misery is actually very good, that it will keep you, it will give you an urge to live, it will give you a fire to fight with your miseries, and you will be always keeping what? You will be always keeping young. Portia. Good sentences and well pronounced. What is Portia doing? Portia is congratulating or complimenting the words told by Nerissa. And what is Nerissa saying? They would be better if well followed. So Nerissa is just advising Portia. Yes, I know that what I said was really good to hear and to tell, but if we are following this advice, then it will be really good to live. These sentences will be really beautiful, more beautiful if they are followed, in the life. And what is Portia saying? If to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, chapels have been churches and poor men's cottages princess places. She is saying that you think it's that easy? You think it that easy? If doing good deeds were as easy as knowing how to do them, then everyone would be better off. Small chapels would be big churches and poor men cottages would be princess palaces. What is saying? Yes, I know that what you are saying is really good, but if we are able to do the good things, if we are able to realize that this is good and bad at the right time, then this world will be really happy. There will be no poor ones in the world. There will be no poor chapels here. There will be all old chapels will be converted into new churches. Oh, there will be no poor people, and every person will be living in the princess palaces. And what is she saying? It is a good divine that follows his own instructions. I can easier teach 20 what were good to be done than be one of the 20 to follow mine on teaching. It takes a good priest to practice what he preaches. For me, it's easier to lecture 20 people on how to be good than to be the one person out of 20 who actually does good things. So, what is she saying? She's saying like actually I know that being good, I can advise many things to many people. I can advise many sentences, more good sentences to 20 and more people, more than 50 people I can preach to them. And she is citing an example like, if a priest is talking, if a priest will advise many things to all his people, but it will be really tough for him to practicalize the ideologies, practicalize the advices that he is giving to the people. Likewise, I can advise many people. I can advise 20 and more people. But being the best people among that 20 is the most difficult thing. She is saying to Nerissa. Portia is saying to Nerissa. And what is happening then? The brain may devise laws for the blood, but a hot temper leads over a cold degree. So, what is let's look at the new words. Blood, will, or body, not the distinction between reason and will, or mind and body. A hot temper degree, the heat of desire disobeys such cold laws. Cold degree, good advices. So, what is she saying? The brain may devise laws for the blood. She is saying the brain can tell heart what to do. The brain may devise laws for the blood. Blood is here the mind or the body. Brain is our mind, our logical thinking. So the brain can tell heart what to do. But what does it matter? Brain will always tell us, do this, don't cry, don't panic, don't be afraid. When we are walking above a mountain, or when we are walking around a alone abandoned home, we'll be in real fear, isn't it? And the brain will be saying like, no, don't fear, there is nothing, there is no ghost is a illogical thing and all. But our mind and our body will be really in a fright. Likewise, Portia is actually citing such an example, like she is saying that I know that the brain will be advising logical things to the mind, to the blood, to the body. The brain will be giving good advices, but the heart can't do that, but the body can't do that. What does it matter? Cold rules don't matter when you have got a hot temper. She is saying that there are many cold rules. We know all these cold rules, these logics. I know all these logics, but when we are having a tension, when we are having a pain, when we are having a hot temper, we cannot think all these things. We cannot think about all these philosophies and sit simply. She is saying because Portia is really tensed and she is having a deep pain inside her heart. But thinking like this won't help me choose a husband. What is she saying? Such a hairy madness the youth to skip over the measures of good counsel the cripple. And let's look at the new word, such a cripple. Youthful high spirits are like a hare which easily leaps over the nets of limping good advices. So what is Portia trying to say? Young people are like frisky young rabbits, and good advice is like a crippled old man trying to catch them. So what is she saying? Young people are like a frisky young rabbit. She is saying that young people are actually like frisky rabbits. They will be highly energetic. They will be jumping from here and there. Likewise, the heart of Portia is like a frisky rabbit, and it is full of chaos. She is in deep sorrows, and it's jumping from positive and negative thoughts. And good advice is like a crippled old man trying to catch them. So what is she saying? Actually, young people are like what? Young people are like rabbits, and advisors are like an old man with crippled legs, with a handicapped man trying to catch a rabbit. That's a very awesome, beautiful simile, or that's a beautiful comparison Portia is taking to cite the condition of young people. She is saying that young people are like crippled high energetic rabbits, and these advices which are given to young people to make their life better, or the philosophies which is told to this energetic young person is like a crippled old man, trying to catch this rabbit. Sorry. But thinking like this won't help me choose a husband. Oh, the word choose is strange. I can't choose who I like or refuse who I dislike. I am a living daughter, still controlled by the wishes of a dead father. Isn't it a pain that I can't choose or refuse anyone, Narisa? So, what is she saying? Such a hair and madness the youth to skip over the masters of good counsel the cripple. But this reasoning is not in the fashion to choose me a husband. Oh, me, the word choose. I may neither choose whom I would, nor refuse whom I dislike. So, is the will of a living doctor curbed by the will of a dead father? Is it not hard, Narisa, that I cannot choose one or refuse one? So, Portia is actually sharing her real sorrow with Narisa. She is saying that telling all these philosophies will not help me. I know this will not help me in choosing a husband. And she is suddenly saying that choosing, she is once more she is repeating that word choose, and she is saying that I cannot use the word choose. She is in deep sorrow that she is saying that I cannot choose my own husband. I cannot choose my own life. I am still in the constraints of my father's wish. I cannot accept a person whom I love in my life, and I cannot deny. I cannot refuse the person whom I don't like. What a condition is this? Why Portia is saying that? Because already her father had written that she can only marry a person, a suitor who is coming and taking the right casket from the three caskets. So she's saying that even my marriage is not, even my life is not in my hands. I cannot select my own lover or my own husband. I cannot live my own life. I am very much constrained in the that write up of my father. And is that a good thing? Is that Narisa, please tell me, she's asking a question to Narisa, please tell me, is that painful? Is that really weird and painful that I can't even choose my own person, my own husband? So what is happening? Portia is really explaining her what is her real issue. Portia is really opening her heart to Nerissa. And what is Nerissa saying? Your father was ever virtuous, and holy men at their death have good inspirations. Therefore, the lottery that he hath devised in these three chests of gold, silver, and lead, whereof who chooses his meaning chooses you, will no doubt never be chosen by any rightly but one who shall rightly love. But what warmth is there in your affection towards any of these princely suitors that are already come? So Nerissa, what is Nerissa saying? Let us look at the new words. Inspirations. Inspiration is divine guidance. The idea of lottery was that it would discover the true lover, so that Portia would have no cause to regret being debarred from choosing his meaning, the one that Portia's father meant him to choose. So let us read that sentence once more. Your father was ever virtuous. What is Nerissa saying? Nerissa is replying to Portia's sorrow that she is not able to select his own lover. So Nerissa is replying to Portia that Your father, madam, your dear Madam Portia, your father was an extremely moral man. He was a very moral man. He was a very intelligent man. And religious people get odd decision in their deathbeds. Nerissa is saying that religious people, people who are really elite and people who are really intellectual and religious will take odd decision, different decision in their bedtimes, in their last times when they are too close to the death. They will take really weird decision, but that will be really helpful for you for sure. They will have such an intuition to take such decisions, because that will be really good for you. Therefore, the lottery that he had devised in these three chests of gold. What is she saying? Your father idea was to have a game with three boxes. The suitor who can figure out whether to pick the gold, silver or lead box will solve your father's riddle. And that suitor's man for you. No one will ever choose the right box who doesn't deserve your life. But tell me, do you like any of the princely suitors who have come? So Nerissa is asking, don't worry. Actually, your father have settled, your father have really arranged a very beautiful or very helpful thing for you, helpful riddle to find your suitor. So Portia, look, your father has done like there is 3 casket per the person should come here and take this thing, take the correct casket, and what should he do? He can marry you. So only the right person who is having that much abundance, that much lot of love inside his heart will be only able to find the right casket. So you don't worry, you will be really happy. Only the right person can find that riddle. And she's asking a question Nerissa is asking a question to Portia. Will no doubt never be chosen by any rightly, but who shall rightly love? But what warmth is there in your affection towards any of these princely suitors that are already come? So Nerissa is just asking. So many people have already came as your suitors and tried the casket. So do you love any of them? Do you have an affection towards any of them? She is asking a question to Portia. And what is Portia saying? I pray thee, overname them, and as thou namest them, I will describe them, and according to my description, level at my affection. So, what is she saying? Let's look at the new words. Rightly is, as you know, it's correctly. Then, but is expect. Overname them, call out their name one by one. Level at yes. So what is Portia saying? Portia is saying like, run through the list. As you name them, I will describe them for you. And from my descriptions, you can guess how I feel towards them. So Nerissa is saying like, oh, I know. Portia is saying like, oh, I know many people came to take this to play this riddle and marry me. You just do one thing, Nerissa. Take the list of the names of that prince and just read out their names. Then I will tell, when you read a name, I will tell about what I feel towards him. So you can realize that what kind of affection or what kind of feeling I have towards this person. So they are going into a game like Nerissa will say the name of the suitor, and Portia will say what kind of emotion or what kind of reaction is she having with that person. So Nerissa is saying the first name. What was the first name? First, there is the Neapolitan prince. So, what is Neapolitan? From Naples. From Naples, the place Naples, from the country. The first person who came to see Portia is actually the first person who came to watch to play this caskets was actually a prince from prince from Naples, and he's called Neapolitan prince. So she's asking, Nerissa is saying the first is Neapolitan prince. What do you feel about him? And Portia is saying, yes. That's a cult indeed. For he doth nothing but talk of his host, and he makes it a great appropriation to his own good parts that he can show himself. So let's look at the meanings. So as we said, Neapolitan is a person from Naples. Cult is inexperienced young man, like person without any experience, like a young host, an inexperienced person like a young host. Neapolitans were framed for their hostmanship. Okay, and then a great parts in addition to his own merits, that himself that he can show his own host. So what happened? What is she saying? Yes, that stallion, that person. All he talks about his horse. He thinks it's a great credit to his character that he can show a horse all by himself. I am afraid of his mother may have had an affair with a blacksmith. So what is she saying? And makes it a great appropriation to his own good parts that he can show himself. Then that what is that, 48 to 9, what is she saying? 48 to 49, what is she saying? She can show his own horse. So what is Portia saying about the Neapolitan king? So actually the Neapolitans are very much famous for their horsemanship. They will be awesome riders and fighters. And she is saying that, oh, that cold indeed. He is a cold man. He is an unenergetic. He is a useless, inexperienced young man. He's like a small horse. A small horse is actually like, it can run fast, it have good energy, but it don't have any experience. So she is saying that that person is like a inexperienced horse. It is a useless thing. He does nothing but talk of his. He cannot do anything. He don't have any kind of his own abilities. What he does always is like, he will always praise about his horse, and he thinks like it is the best thing in the world. So she is feeling a kind of, she's contempting that Neapolitan prince. She don't like that particular person. And Nerissa, then there is that County Palatine. So what is she saying? Nerissa is saying the next name. Nerissa is saying the next name in the list, and that is the County Palatine. Who is the County Palatine? The count from the Palatinate, the region from the west bank of the Rhine. The count is a local ruler or a nobleman. So the next person is a nobleman from the west bank of Rhine. West bank of Rhine. That person is from Rhine, west bank of Rhine, and he will be a nobleman. So Nerissa is saying, so tell me about the county of Palatine. What is then Portia saying? Portia is saying, he doth nothing but frown, as who should say, and you will not have me choose. He hears merry tales and smiles not. I fear he will prove the weeping philosopher when he grows old, being so fully of unmannerly sadness in his youth. I had rather be married to a death's head with a bond in his mouth than to either of these. God defend me from these two. So what happened? She is saying about the Count Palatine. So as we have only 3 or 4 minutes left, I am not explaining this paragraph. What Portia have to talk about this County Palatine. We will check it in the next class. So before that, I need to say something to you, because I actually said you that if I am giving a homework, please be punctual with that. Please be on time, and please submit it punctually. So last time I gave you work, and a very small amount of persons did that work. So this will be my first and last warning to all of you guys, because I will really change my attitude if you are not doing your homework. It is only for your good and that we want to make you or we want you to use your time really productive. That's the only reason why we are giving all kind of these works to you. So the last work only a group of people did. So today my work is actually to write about the riddle of Portia's father. What is that? Please write this question somewhere, and I am very much strict in that. After this class, go and write the answer and share that in the group before 4 o'clock. The list, I will take the list of the people who is not sharing this. So please be sure, please make sure you are doing this homework at time. And the work I am going to give you today is what is the riddle of Portia's father. There is some riddle that he kept, there is some riddle for marrying Portia written by Portia's father before death. What was that riddle? Give me the answer. That's a very small thing. That's a small paragraph. Just write the question, write the answer detailedly, take a photograph and send it to me. Okay. And I hope that you will do that in right time before 4 o'clock. I am repeating that after this class today itself before 4 o'clock the answer should be shared into the group. That this is a very small thing. If you're having just 10 minutes you can do this. So I hope all of you will do that. Our time is over and we will see in the next class. Till then, be safe, be happy, do your works perfectly. Also, always encourage yourself, use the time very productively. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.